Hello everyone, this is Orlando from My Collector's Dream. And today I want to talk a little bit about how I store my cards, but mainly what I want to talk about is the slabs. All the different slabs, and is there a perfect slab? What's the best slab? What's the best company that makes slabs? Because really the only reason I see to grade is, of course, to get someone else's opinion to sell the card. But also, if you want a card that you want to preserve, you want to be able to get a nice display out of it too. You want it to look good in that slab, and you want the slab to be a good slab. So I'm going to go over that in a minute. But first of all, I just want to share how I usually store my cards. The majority of my cards, I've taken them all out of binders. And what I've done is I basically have put most of my cards, I still have some binders, so most of my cards are in boxes with penny sleeves. And then the bigger cards, the little more that I don't keep in penny sleeves, I'll put them in these, in the Ultra Pro or the Card Savers with a penny sleeve in there. And that's usually how I store them. Most of my cards are stored like this. The majority of them are stored like this in my boxes. So that's how I store them. There are some that I store in the top loaders. And I use the top loaders for some cards, like this one especially. This is the Kellogg's cards, and I want to make sure I keep that pretty stiff there for now. And usually I'll put that in a card saver, and then I'll put them in the top loaders there. But so anyway, so I use top loaders and in the sleeves. Those are the two main ways that I use it. And then there are some cards that I also have in the magnetics, because I'll display these or something that's nice, and I'll put them in a magnetic. But I try not to put them too much in magnetics because they do take a lot of room, versus one card versus all these cards, So they do take up room, but there's special cards that you do want to have in magnetics also. So just want to share some of the things, some ways that I do it. But what I want to get into today is I really want to talk about, if I'm going to pay money to get something slabbed, I want it to look nice in the slab, and I want the company to be a good company and so on. And, you all know the issues there. So I want to talk about, PSA, SGC, Beckett, CGC. I want to show you all examples of those slabs, because I have a Frankenstein collection. That's pretty much what I got. I collect the card. I don't collect the slab, but I would like to have an ideal slab, and that's what I want to try to come up with today with your help, and hopefully you can leave some comments. And I'm going to show you some examples, and I'm going to show you what I think is the best slab that has been made. So we'll go from there. So this is the PSA slab. As you can see, it's a pretty nice slab. This one is okay. It has the frosted thing around it. Some of them have that crappy sleeve around that really detracts from the card. So it's okay. Many of my cards, I have 3 sets on the registry, including this one here. This is on the registry, so it is on PSA slab. But for the most part, I would prefer my vintage cards to be in the SGC slabs. I just like how it presents. I really do like the black insert there, and how it's clearly marked there. What I don't like about these slabs now is the number's too big, So that's my only down with that. It's just, I don't want that number to stand out that much. I want people to look at the card, So this was their old slab, their old number. Of course, the 70 doesn't make any sense anymore, but basically it's the same exact slab. They haven't really changed. So, but I do love how the vintage especially looks in those slabs. It just pops. It makes it kind of frames the card versus the PSA. And I don't know, it just looks a little bit nicer in there for me. So that's the SGCs. And, you know, again, I don't know. I prefer this one. And the difference in these two slabs they're the same. It just looks like they use a little bit different plastic. One maybe is a little bit clearer. So this looks like maybe a little different. And, you know, it's bigger than the PSA slab. You can literally put the PSA slab in it. So that's one downfall of SGC. It's just a little bit bigger and a little bit thicker. Okay, so that's the downfall of that. Looks better, a little bit too big, a little bit too clunky, I guess, but the look is there. Next, we'll take a look at the Beckett slabs. And the Beckett slabs are strong and thick. You know, they are the size of the PSA, little smaller, but thicker. You know, they're thicker, similar to the SGC as far as the thickness wise. Similar, but smaller. Smaller, as you can see, much smaller. But it looks sturdier. But I just hate the label. I don't like anything to do with that. I just don't like the way it is. You know, it's kind of hard to read. You know, as far as the best to read probably would be the PSA. And SGC, I think, could change a little bit on that font. Maybe make that font a little bit, you know, instead of they're using a thick font. Maybe use a little bit bigger and a thinner font. Make that look a little better. So I'm kind of going over my critiques of all of the different, slabs. So let's talk about the CGC or CSG or whatever they want to be called nowadays. And this slab, to me, you know, now this one's in a little baggy, you know, and I don't like, you know, I know they changed this now and made it black, but I just still don't like it. I think it's too big of a label, and even the newer ones, and I should have pulled a newer one too to compare, but it's very similar. I just think it's kind of, the label detracts more than it, you know, I want the card, I want to see the card better. And what I do love about these is how clear this plastic is. This is definitely the clearest material, the clearest plastic of all of the ones that I've shown you here. They definitely have, I think, slab-wise, as far as slab itself, it's probably the best slab. You know, it does have a hologram there. You know, I think the PSA, the new ones have the little hologram there, and SGC, the old ones had in the back, but they don't have that anymore. And the Beckett, it's just, I don't know. To me, that's probably the Beckett's the least favorite. So these are the four major companies. You know, you have Tag also, and Tag is great, but it's just all clear. I don't like the all clear either. I think that's too much as far as the label, and you know, I'm not even going to get into the other ones, HGC, whatever, all the rest of the dudes. But the bottom line is, here's four different slabs. I want to go back. I want to go back to, you know, what I think could be the best slab design. You know, if they were to ask me, this is what I would suggest. And I'm going to show you a slab that I think is near perfect, except it needs the clearness of this slab right here. The clearness of this slab. And possibly the label, a better updated label of this. So I'm not a fan of the red label. I just don't, you know, I don't like it. I like this label the best. I like this slab the best. But, you know, if you would kind of make a combination, you know, this slab is, again, let's compare these two before I go ahead and show you one I think. You know, again, this is the SGC is big. And to me, I think it's too big. I would like to see it smaller. If you compare this to the PSA, you could see it is the size of a PSA, maybe slightly smaller, but it is the size of a PSA and the thickness of a PSA. But it is a much stronger, this looks like a flimsier plastic, and look at the clearness of this. So I'm going with this, and I'm going with a label like this with a clearer writing on it, but I'm going with this old GAI. What I like about this is it's got the same, what I like about the vintage SGC. It's got the black frame, but it's a smaller, much smaller slab. You can see it here. It's the size of the it's the size of the PSA, exactly the size of the PSA slab, exactly the same size. Smaller label, exactly the same size with that frame. Look at that. See how that PSA would look with a frame? So if PSA had a frame, of course this is a frosted, but if PSA had a frame, that would look a little bit better, I think. So going back to GAI, the label sucks, of course, but I like that they would put, like, this was the first graded of this particular person and that kind of stuff. I like that idea. I like the size of the number, which is not overwhelming. It's a good size. You know, it's bigger than this, but it's not as big as that. So I like that part of it. And the other stuff I like about it is that, you know, in the back it has, I like this, which none of them have, where you could literally, if you put them in the box, you get a good look at that. Show you a good look at that. Here, if you put it in the box, you can see exactly what it is without having to pull it out. It says 1888 and 162 McLaughlin jockey, and it has the grade. So if you put these in the box, you could see what they were. Great concept, great idea. Old slab, old company, no longer in business, but great ideas they had there. I wanted to share that. So if you could get a combination, somebody give me a great combination. The clear slabs of the CGC or CG, whatever it's called nowadays, with the black sleeve, with a better, I don't know, just trying to make it up here, guys. A better tag up there. So that, anyway, that's pretty much my. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? PSA slab. I like the size. Don't like the size. Don't like the size. This and these are too big. This, and this are great size. Clarity on this can be beat across the board. The background that frames it, the black insert, to me, for vintage card, boom, makes it all pop. If you put a black insert on this card here, that would look beautiful. This frosted, don't like it. So, especially when they put a little baggie. Sometimes they put a baggie in there, it looks even worse. So, PSA needs to be more consistent with the way that they not only grade the cards, but also the way that they, slab the cards. SGC, I like SGC. I like the way that they do their cards. I just wish they would improve on that label and maybe reduce the size of your slab to match the other sizes of slabs, and try that route, see what happens there. Beckett, I don't know. I don't see much hope for Beckett nowadays. And CGC, CG, you got to improve that label a little bit and make your cards look better. The size is great. Oh, that's great. So that's my not so quick overview on storing cards, graded cards, what could be the most perfect slab. And that's what I want to do this video on. So share your comments, thoughts, like and subscribe. This is Orlando from My Collector's Dream. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.